that's what we want to be, but I don't want it to time out. Even though if you get yours for all the time, I don't care as much.
We should be on.
You should be on. Okay, let's take a look. It's all to the internet. There you go. There was another one. Close that. Like that. That's official. And we shall start again. It's not time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and check, but it says recording.
Okay, I'll just look just because that way I can say it's recording.
Yeah, people can see that.
Rather do that and not have it work. Thank you. That's what teamwork looks like. Did you bring a blank sheet of paper?
I have mine stuff here.
Or
Do you need one or?
Yep, we're going to put one on the screen. Sign sheet. Brand new pen. Still have the plastic in it.
Do you happen to have an extra pen?
I do.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Thank you. Go by the items of the agenda. Board convened in a special board meeting on March 1st. Thank you, sir. March 1st of 2023 at 6:30 p.m. So let's move to the second item, roll call. Is Director Flores here?
Present.
Okay. Director Pop?
Here.
Okay. Director Avila's here. And Director Jones is absent. And Director Dudo has officially resigned as president of the board, so she is not present. So now let's move on to item number 3, citizen communication. It is limited to 2 minutes per person. Let me just read this right here really quick. Persons wishing to speak during citizen communication must sign up to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Comments on applicable agenda items may be expressed during citizen communication only. Pursuant to Texas Government Code, subsection 551.042, the Board of Directors' responses are restricted if a person speaks on a topic not posted on the district agenda and the comment does not relate to an item of discussion. So having said that, we can have our first speaker tonight. And I'm going to time here, so if you give me a second.
Yeah, no problem.
You are ready.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Kimball. I'm a member of the MUD for 3 years. And I work in the field of digital marketing, building websites, communications, that sort of thing. I wanted to understand about how the board is governed outside of the regulations for the state and the water. Those regulations are clear, but I'm just wondering if there are any operating procedures, bylaws, or anything like that governed by the MUD.
Yeah, we can't comment on
Sure.
it. Yeah.
No. And then I was also wondering about our water maintenance plan for the next 5 or 10 years. The bonds are going to be paid off. There'll be extra money, so to speak, revenue, so to speak. And so how do we plan to use that? Obviously, there's maintenance that needs to occur. What is the plan over the next 5 to 10 years to take care of my utility called water? So I'd like to understand. And then the last thing I wanted to comment on is communication. I understand from the former president that we have a MailChimp application, which is a digital application. It's email to go to our members, but maybe I'm not signed up. I don't think it was used during this last ice storm. And I'm just wondering why we're not using that tool that we already have accessible to us. Obviously, communicating about how to protect your pipes, who to call in case of a water break, etc., would be very important as an educational tool. And I think that was it. That was all my comments. I'm 15 seconds ahead of time. All right,
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Next person.
Nobody?
I don't. Anybody else? Okay, we're good. Well, that concludes citizen communication, and we'll move to item number 4, and that is your agenda item, Director Fobb. So,
Thank you. During the February 15th, 2023 general meeting, the board voted to terminate the employment of McGinnis Lockridge as general counsel for the district. As a result of that termination, former counsel Zach Evans sent a letter to the board on February 23rd, informing us that effective immediately, there will be no further general counsel services and no protection of the interests being terminated, including the tracking or attending to deadlines, calendared events, or any other important upcoming circumstances. Of the ongoing matters listed in his letter, one is of utmost importance, and that is a hearing scheduled on March 7th. None of the 3 board members sitting here this evening have any information as to the merits of this case or the cost to the district to have brought it this far. However, we do have an obligation to protect the investment that has already been made in this case and not lose it on a technicality. Because we have no counsel, we find ourselves in a situation where we must vote on how to address the hearing scheduled for March 7th, 2023. We cannot discuss the case because it is not on the agenda, but we can vote on the best course of immediate action to preserve our standing with the court and the district's investment in this case to date. So I have suggestions, and that would be to have the prosecuting attorney from Andrew Edge of McGinnis Lockridge file a motion for continuance until the matter is transferred to new counsel, or have one of us file a motion for continuance until the matter is transferred to a new counsel. Either way, this is a result of and the reason why we're doing the request for qualifications is because of these kind of things. This is a matter that we cannot address any other night except tonight because we have to act immediately or we're going to lose this case on a technicality. So there's 3 of us here, and I have no information on the merits of the case. Do you have any? Do you have any?
I do not.
So the only thing that I could come up with to try to save it is to ask the court for a continuance until we have a new counsel to represent the district in that particular matter, and once we learn what it's all about. So if you agree that that needs to happen, then a motion, a second, and a vote on how to proceed with this particular problem, this immediate problem. We have 6 days to notify the court.
So do you want to, since you place the agenda...
I'd like to hear what you
ahead
think. Do you think it should be that we hire the prosecuting attorney from McGinnis Lockridge that actually filed this case? His name is Andrew Edge.
Okay.
To file that continuance, or do you feel comfortable filing that continuance in the court, or would you prefer that McGinnis Lockridge do it?
Well, I think my view on this is that we should not limit our motion just to the attorney that you're recommending that files the continuance. And the reason why is because the letter's very clear that they're not going to be representing us anymore. So
Except on those matters that are
matters.
pending,
Okay.
which this is one, where if we deposit a $10,000 retainer in their trust account,
Okay.
they will continue on these. There's 4 open records requests, and then there's several legal matters. And they will, on those very discrete items, they will follow through to the end. I don't think we need them to follow through to the end of any case, but somebody has to file a continuance with the court, or this case is going to be lost on a default.
I agree. So yeah, a continuance must be filed. We need to notify the
Somebody
court that
has to, right?
Somebody has to do it.
Now, the question is who do we get to do that? McGinnis Lockridge?
I would say, they're familiar with the case, so I think it would be much more cost effective for them to do it than actually having to hire a new attorney and having to...
Overnight.
Yeah, exactly. And having them to spend the time to get acquainted with the case. I would rather have the person that is familiar with the case just to file a continuance.
So then the motion's going to be this. I move that we retain Andrew Edge of McGinnis Lockridge to file a continuance on this one specific case that has a hearing scheduled for March 7th. And negotiate the retainer for doing just that, or pay up front for that service.
David, I don't know if you have any comments on that. I didn't hear. But...
My only concern is, what if they decide that they don't want to take it on, is my thought. I know they said they would.
I don't...
But can they say, we changed our mind, we're not interested, is where a question I have. And if that was the case, then what would be the secondary option or our fallback plan if that occurred, is kind of what I'm thinking.
That's a very good point. And I think the obligation would be theirs, because literally we would have no counsel to represent on March 7th. So even if we walked into the courtroom on March 7th and said, Your Honor, our counsel quit and we don't have representation, the continuance is a form. I did find it online, and if they refuse to do it, I don't expect that to happen. But if they did, then we would have to try and present it to the court ourselves.
Right.
Would
So
be the
Director,
only.
I would ask that you extend the motion to where if they refuse not to perform based on what they have actually promised to do on a letter, then the last resort would be to appoint maybe a director that would be filing that continuance. So if you can amend
Okay.
that motion, I think, that'll make you
Okay,
Yeah.
cover all the bases.
Yeah, cover all the bases.
Okay, so then I move that Andrew Edge of McGinnis Lockridge file the continuance on this one case with the hearing scheduled for March 7th. And if they decline to do that, then I motion that Director Avila file that continuance with the court.
Okay, I'll second the motion. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Now I would really like to jump into agenda item 4. I felt like that was necessary to do up front because that's time sensitive.
Right.
And it's why we're doing the RFQ in the first place.
Yep.
So on the board packet, what I did is I took the RFQ, the request for qualifications that were used 1 year ago to hire Zach Evans. And I modified those particular items. I modified that RFQ to identify what we've learned in the last year that we really need in a general counsel for the district. It is a proposed draft at best. And if I'm perfectly willing and receptive to making any changes that you want to make, this is exactly the format that it was in. So we know that this works because we used it a year ago. McKinsey from Infomark is the contact as it was a year ago. And all that we have to plug in are the dates, the release date, and the close date. And I would suggest that we release it tomorrow and that we close it on, what day did I have? A response due by March 13th. The reason I'm suggesting that date is because then we could have another special meeting on March 14th where we sit together, we look at all the submittals, and we select an attorney based on just their submittals, and then we can have that attorney present at the general meeting on March 15th. Trying to squeeze it into this very limited time frame that we have, 14 days effectively,
Gotcha.
to try to hire an attorney. So that's the proposal. You'll find that RFQ. I also, what we did with the last proposal had an attachment. It looked like what I handed out, an appendix, if you will. This is so that the people who are applying can see the things that we need them to do and the value that we place on these things. For instance, property tax regulations, the rate order, the training requirements for directors, legislative updates concerning MUDs, all the things that we need an attorney to do for us to keep us in line with the law. And I placed values there. Like I said, all of this can change. We just have to be quick about it. Yes, David?
So this was already existing, did you modify it?
No, I modified it tremendously. Yeah, there was a lot of things on there that they fall into other categories, and they like. There was one item, the ability to remove a director. Okay, that's not even something that can be done. So I took it off because you can't do that legally anyway. So, yeah. So we have We have a proposal we can use. We have qualifications, scoring that we can use. And know this, that the water code says clearly that when selecting an attorney, it's on the basis of demonstrated competence and qualifications to perform the service for a fair and reasonable price. It doesn't have to be your cheapest, it doesn't have to be your most expensive. It's the one that presents in their submittal their qualifications that we feel meet the requirements of this district. And for a frame of reference, a year ago, when McGinnis Lockridge applied, so did another attorney from the law firm of Lloyd, Gosling, Rochelle, and Townsend. His name was David Klein. And I put his submittal inside the board packet tonight, so you can get a feel for what they send back. Another option is we could just hire him and not go through a process. Because again, it's a request for qualifications. We know his qualifications. He's already applied and interviewed with the district. I personally would like to open it and let as many people who are interested apply. I think the wider you cast the net, the better the results. But if you feel like waiting 13 more days is not a good idea, this gentleman applied a year ago and might be willing to work here.
Right. Yeah, for me, just for sake of transparency, I think it's important that we do extend. I think the idea of allowing it to be, to have everybody turn in by the 13th, then we can see candidate A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
Have some dialogue, read into their qualifications, and then make a more informed, choice.
So you want to open it?
I want to
with
open
it?
it for
Okay.
you, yeah, that's mine.
Good. That would be my first choice as well.
I did put together a list of, it's in the share folder, a list of all the attorneys in Travis and Williamson County that I was able to track down going through the TCEQ website. So I made a list and I kind of tried to put them in order all together, the districts that they have. So these are all the people I can find to reach out to see if they're interested in representing the district.
And that's a pretty substantial list. I counted at least 10 different law firms. So
Yeah. So I think we got to do it. Yeah, I think that would be the first step to get it going.
So did you guys have a chance to look over the RFQ? Are there any changes you want to that document?
I looked at the old one that was actually used, and then I looked at the new one that you uploaded. So they're pretty similar, and I think you've made some good extensions to it, which I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I think that'll answer. Will get us the information we need so that we can select a qualified counsel for the district. So
David?
I feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
So
And anything you want to add or subtract from the appendix to this? Because this goes with the RFQ. People need to know what they're applying for and how it's weighted, so they can tell us how they meet those qualifications.
Yeah, I think it's good. Once we get their information in, I guess we'll be able to get a better feel for additional information or additional questions that we might have that are not included in here. Then we can try that on the 15th.
Well,
General meeting, a regular meeting.
by
Right?
then we'll have hired. We're going to
Right,
hire on the
okay.
14th. But here's what I'm going to ask Mackenzie. I'm going to ask her to create a board packet dated March 14th for that particular meeting that we're going to collect responses and discuss. And then from the minute she gets them, she can start dumping them in there. And as they go in there, take your sheet, read their stuff, and start giving them points, how
Right.
you see their qualifications.
Right.
Score them based on what they submit. So when we come together on the 14th, we'll all have opinions about what we read inside of their submittal, and then we can discuss those things. If you want, we could interview. If we had more time, that would be worth doing, but unfortunately, we are out of time. So we're going to I feel that we just have to base the decision on what they give us. They have to describe to us how they meet these qualifications. If they don't describe it, we can't give them points for it. We don't know these attorneys personally, so either you tell us how you meet these qualifications, or, the one who does it better, I guess.
But we're not locked in
No.
the March 15th date for the meeting.
Well,
Right. Well, it's generally when we have our meeting.
that's our biggest meeting, and that, the district has to be represented by council. That's, the water code makes that so. And so we have to do our very best to make that as quick as possible. And this is a way to do it quickly, and still get, that if they're applying, then they're MUD attorneys, that they've got experience, so that's in our favor. And as you saw from your own list, David, these people have many, many MUDs that they represent, so.
I would really like, and I know we could do this. We need a council. So what I propose is that we, go through the process and then maybe call in couple of options that we can decide, and then actually have an interview and have them present.
On the
We can ask
14th?
questions on the 14th, and then we can have our meeting on the 15th.
I love that idea. We can't talk about who your favorite choice or, who your first pick or my first pick, or we can't do that. But what we could do is we could say, Mackenzie, I've looked at all the ones in the bucket, and I want you to call X and have him come for an interview. And I can do the same, and he can do the same. We can't talk about it, and she can't tell us who you
Right.
picked, I picked, or he picked.
So do we pick our top two and go that way, top three, or?
I'll
So if
pick
you're
my
going to
top.
communicate with Mackenzie as to
I'll say,
who we
Mackenzie,
recommend.
let's say, there's 8 applicants. Please call applicant number 3 and ask them if they can appear for an interview on the 14th.
Okay.
And then you say, Mackenzie, I want you to call applicant 4 for an interview. And you say, I want you to call applicant 1. Now we've got 3. Our top 1, that's 3 total. What would be the odds that we all pick the same one? That would be nice. It'd make it easy. And then she calls them and asks them to come on the 14th. They come into the room, we interview them, and
Yeah.
have your questions ready and interview them, and that could work. She can't talk back to us about who you picked, who I picked, who you
Right.
picked, but she
But at least we
can
have the
orchestrate
options.
that.
Yeah, have her orchestrated. I think that's a good idea. Then we can show the public that we haven't, decided for council, sort of behind the scenes, but we want to make it public where we're giving the information to the public. We can ask the questions on the 14th. Then we can make a decision that day.
Okay,
That's fine. I think that's fair and transparent.
Yep.
yeah, let's do that. We need a motion.
So you want Mackenzie to coordinate our top pick to come in and interview on the 14th?
That's it?
Motions?
So that would be a motion?
Yep,
Yes.
I
Okay,
got
I'll
it.
second that motion. All in favor?
I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to talk, but
Yeah, we can't, yeah.
I apologize. I
No
apologize
worries.
to you. I just-
We can't discuss it outside of a public meeting. I mean, our selections, we can't talk amongst each other.
I know that.
So we're kind of stuck, how are we going to do
I
this?
just, okay. It was wording, I apologize.
Yeah, I will clean up that motion, and make sure it's exactly what he intended, which is exactly what we discussed. And
Yes,
it's recorded, so I'll be able to get it.
Right, so in order for it to be clear, can we just restate the motion? Can somebody restate the motion again?
That Mackenzie coordinate the interview top choices to come in on the 14th for the interview.
And you're in agreement with that specific wording?
And, well, each director's individual top choice is really what Yeah, not all of our, yeah,
Okay.
each
So-
one of us, because the wording does sound like we picked one where
Okay.
each individual director needs to pick their top choice to come in and interview.
Let me restate
So
that
restate the
motion.
motion, please.
McKinsey coordinate each individual director's top choice for an interview on the 14th.
Do you agree with the motion?
I agree with the
You're
motion.
submitting it formally. Do you submit the motion formally as written? Okay,
Right.
all right, I'll second the motion.
Oh,
Everybody, okay, good, all right.
so I need another motion. I'll do this one for you since I already wrote it. To publish the RFQ with the evaluation criteria on March 2nd, tomorrow, with a response due by March 13th. I need a second.
Second that motion.
So we have a second, all in favor? Now, I want to make clear that in that motion, prior to this motion, do we have a date for the, do we have a formal motion for the interview, that we have interviews on the 14th?
Yes.
Is that included there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Want to make it clear.
That is. Yes. So, and again, the way that's going to be gathered is I'm going to ask her to make a board packet dated March 14th, because you know that's the interview day, and dump every response to the RFQ in there. So keep an eye on that folder and keep up, because you don't want to wait until the last day to be scoring a bunch of them, so. And one thing I did want to ask is, the water code allows us to have a meeting at any time. It is not, we are not tethered to a Wednesday. Are you flexible with any other day of the week? Sometimes attorneys won't apply for a position if we lock them into a Wednesday night because they have commitments elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, is there any days that you cannot meet? Any evenings you cannot meet? Any mornings? Are mornings better than evenings?
No, I'm good with evenings.
You're good with the evenings?
6:30, 6:30 would be good.
6:30? Okay. And any night of the week is good for you?
Yeah, I mean, for that, I think 13th, 14th, 15th, that week at night, the first 3 days of the week, that
I
wouldn't be an
mean,
issue.
going forward. I mean, forever.
Yeah, nights would be it for me, yeah.
Monday through Friday
Mhm.
at 6:30.
6:30, yeah.
Perfect.
I can
And Dave?
accommodate for that.
My availability is Tuesdays, Wednesdays, evenings, and any morning during the week would be fine.
Okay.
Even weekends as well.
So that's something to keep in mind. You'll find that I did put it in the criteria there. I asked for their availability dates because if they are not available on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, then they wouldn't, I mean, if we didn't have David, then we wouldn't have a quorum right now. So that would be a problem too. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for now.
So you're good for Tuesday? This
Yeah.
coming Tuesday for the...
Tuesdays and Wednesdays,
Yeah, good.
I'm almost free.
So, yeah. That was everything about the RFQ. So I guess we're on agenda item 5.
So, before we go to agenda item 5, we don't have general counsel in the room, so that's so you right now are acting, like maybe temporary secretary, because you're doing the minutes. So I'm wondering if we should submit a motion that you act as a secretary until council is elected.
Well, we have a secretary. It's Beth. She's the secretary of the board.
Right.
In her absence, I'm taking the minutes, but
I just want to
you can make a motion if it makes you
I just want to
feel
make a motion, just in case they come back and say, well, because you weren't the secretary.
better. Your minutes are no good.
No, I don't know. So let's just kind of make that, I would like to make a motion that we have an interim secretary until the day that council is officially hired. And that Linda would be the secretary,
I'll second that
interim
motion.
secretary. Okay. You have a second? All in favor? Yeah. Okay. So I think officially you can now do meeting minutes, right? That's the role of the secretary.
Actually, the role of the secretary is the documentation of the district.
Yeah.
It's not the minutes, believe it or not. It's all the documentation of the district. It's a tough job to make sure it's all accurate, so. Yeah. But I'm happy to do it for you.
Okay. All right, so let's move to agenda item number 5, confirm next meeting date.
I have a note that we meet again next Wednesday, another special meeting for the following things that are time sensitive and have to be addressed. And that is a posting to fill the board vacancy, to get status of the storm cleanup effort, and we should invite Sunscape to come, and a notice to Sage Management to preserve and return the district's records. If you read their letter today,
I did.
that's going to be a problem, and we need those records back. So, they're only giving us 30 days, so we have to send them a notice. Even if we write it, it still has merit. We are the board, and they work for us, so.
So you want them to send, because the letter clearly states, as per directive, which I don't know what directive they're talking about, all photos, addresses, prior to 2002 were submitted to former General Counsel Bill Flickinger.
Which means those records then would have had to have been turned over to McGinnis Lockridge.
Okay.
It's not those records. As you'll see further down, they write all the letters and notices that they've sent since spring, I think is how they identify the time frame. And all the email communication, they're not willing to surrender back to the district.
So they are giving us 30 days, right?
30 days.
Yeah.
So, and because we have open cases, all of the evidence for any of the cases currently in the courts come from Sage. So if they abscond with the records, we have a bigger problem.
Big problem.
We have a bigger problem. So their contract stipulates that they have to return all of our records upon termination. So we just need to put them on notice that do not just, she's saying she's going to delete the emails, that we need her not to delete records. She says they paid for the email account, so it's theirs. And
I think we ought to make this is important that, we make a motion that we do notify them in writing that they are not to delete any records, period whatsoever.
okay, you want to do that tonight?
I want to do that tonight.
Okay. It's
And
not
then
on the
maybe-
agenda. It's not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it. We cannot discuss it any further. That was going to be a future meeting on the 8th. We really can't discuss things that are not on the agenda. We can on the 8th send them that notice and discuss the reasons why.
All right, well, let's
It's
put
real
that on
tricky.
the agenda item on the 8th.
So we're going to have another special meeting next Wednesday. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
But these things are, we
So we'll
just.
put that as an agenda item for
For
the 8th.
the 8th. I've got 3 things. A posting to fill the board vacancies, status of the storm cleanup, and notice to Sage Management to preserve and return the district's records.
Okay, I think that's,
And I will send that to Mackenzie tomorrow, an agenda for posting, because we need that 72-hour window. It's got to get posted by Friday, so I'll get it to her tomorrow for next meeting date and the agenda.
okay, excellent.
And then, of course, then after that will be the March 14th meeting where we interview attorneys, and then our general board meeting is on the 15th.
Okay.
And that's where we pay the bills and.
All right, so you want to submit your motion with the changes?
I'll do a motion to confirm that the next meeting date will be a special meeting on March 8th. That includes an agenda to post to fill the board vacancy, the status of stormwater or storm cleanup efforts, and an invitation to Sunscape to attend, and a notice to Sage Management to preserve and return the district's records.
Is there time?
within 30 days.
No,
No, the time of the meeting,
Oh.
March 8th, 6:30.
Oh, same thing, 6:30.
6:30. All right, any second?
A second that.
Okay. All right, we have a second, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. All right, so we have item number, so we got the next meeting date, so we put all together in the same motion, and then the future agenda item 6, which has already been discussed, and so I call to adjourn the meeting.
I will second that motion.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you,
guys.
one and all. David, you going to, hey, return that on? Could you hear me?
Not the recording.
You didn't turn it on?
Could you hear me?
The last.
I bet you could hear
It
me.
was on.
It was on.
It was on.
We just turned it on.
You just, do we press the button back?
Yeah, the two buttons, the recording and the.
I am Carol Norrell.
Oh, I did not
I did not recognize you.